Decklan Houston, a three-sport athlete at University City High School, sprained all three of his ankle ligaments just 10 days before the CIF playoffs. Now, normally this type of injury takes several weeks, to heal. But Decklan's dad searched for anything that could help his son get back on the field in time for the big game. He found a local inventor, Dr. Jo Polich, and her product, ActivMend. And guess what? 10 days later, Decklan was kicking a ball in the playoffs. So how did a product like this go from an idea to production to helping others? And in the interest of transparency today, we do want to mention that this is not a sponsored segment. We're talking about a lesser known path to healing that could potentially help a lot of people. Now, I'm a runner myself and have been injured a lot more than I care to admit. Now, I've never used this product before, so I myself am curious to learn more. I'm Stephanie Simmons, and this is The Backstory. All right, joining us today is Dr. Jo Polich and Decklan. Thank you guys for joining us. Decklan, I want to start with you. Okay, and first and foremost, I am so excited. I graduated high school way back in the 1900s in 1999. I am so excited to see your Letterman's jacket and that they have not changed in the last few decades. This is a good look, and you have a lot of pins on there. You are a big athlete, so tell us what you compete in, and then we'll get into the injury.
I play varsity football, soccer, and lacrosse, and all 3 seasons are full, so no off seasons.
Yeah, and you're a junior in high school?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the injury. How did it happen, and when did it happen?
It was before the playoff game, probably around, like a little before those 10 days, and it was at, practice. I just stepped wrong, and my foot just bent the complete wrong way, and I just felt like I broke it. But then when I went to get it checked out at ortho, they were like, it's not broken, it's just all these ligaments, and they're like, that's almost worse than a broken bone.
So what did they mean by that? Because the recovery process is so long. So
yeah.
What did they tell you was going to happen before you found ActivMend, which we'll get to you, Dr. Jo, in just a second.
They told me it was probably going to be around a month.
A month?
Yeah.
Okay, so no playing any sports, and we've got the playoffs coming up. Oh, my goodness. So what was going through your head?
I was just mad because I was, letting my team down because we were going to do good. I was hoping we were going to do good in that game. And I was like, oh, no, I can't help them anymore. I'm, hurt.
Okay, so which ankle was it?
My left.
Your left, okay, and it just blew up like a balloon?
Yeah.
Bruised and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to mention the bruising because that's a big component of this. Okay, so your dad found this product, and we're going to talk to your dad in just a little bit. But Dr. Jo, want to bring you in. You invented this masterpiece, we're going to call it, because it really did help Decklan and a lot of other athletes. So for people who have never heard of this, what is ActivMend and what does it do?
So ActivMend, which I have a box here of, it's a patch that lays on the skin and delivers very, very high potency arnica as well as 5 other ingredients that nobody's ever heard of. And, well, it's like I could name them off and you'd be like, I've never heard of them, and it doesn't really matter. But most people have heard of arnica. In fact, we talked, you've used it as well.
Yes, so I looked it up, okay, and again, I mentioned that I'm a runner, a distance runner, and I have massive lower back pain and hip pain, and when I pulled this out, I said, oh, this looks just like one of my lidocaine patches that I slap on, literally the same size, and then I sleep in that for pain, but tell everybody what you told to me before we started the show.
So we mostly focus on ankle sprains, which we talked about there, with Decklan, which if you look at our website, one of the things that we're really different about, there's tons of things out there that talk about, oh, this works on ankle sprains, this works on whatever, but we literally have pictures. In fact, we have your ankle on our website where you can see how it was swollen beforehand, typically at 24 hours. After injury, and then how it looks 24 hours afterwards. In your case, it dropped by about a half an inch. Other cases, like a physical therapist, oh, you have the pictures.
Yeah, we're looking at it
now.
So
that dropped by about a half inch. We have physical therapists that have measured it to be like 3/4 of an inch. That's 24 hours. And so you can see this on the website, and then you can see them playing 10 days later, which you saw a little bit earlier. And so we really focus on ankle sprains, but it works on virtually any acute, sprain or strain that's out there. And going to your back, one of the things that this is like my third child, so it really, really matters to me to be accurate, to be honest. And so one of the things we'll do is we want to be honest about what it does and what it doesn't do. Mm-hmm. And with back, if it's a muscle strain, absolutely works great. But if you've got a herniated disc or you've got arthritis, lidocaine is going to be better for you because it's just a straight pain blocker.
Mm-hmm. So there's no lidocaine in this whatsoever?
No, okay. It's all natural.
Okay, so you focus on the ankles, but if somebody has, some hip pain or something like that, can you put it anywhere?
You can put it anywhere.
Okay.
It's great for, we get a lot of muscle, like you get a groin strain, or you've got, you pulled your hamstring or something like that. People use it all the time.
Okay, so I've used Arnica Montana before in the pellet form. They sell things like that at like Whole Foods, any kind of, grocery stores like that, things like that. But I've also used the Arnica gel. And so what's the difference between those two products and then something like this?
So the biggest difference to the Arnica gel, which you probably used, it's about 2,000 times the potency. So I figured out how to take what was in the pellets, or the highest potency if I'm a chiropractor, and what you use as a professional, you use a much, much higher potency than what you typically can find over the counter. Okay. And so I figured out how to get that into a patch, which is deployed continuously. And that, between those two things, it really makes a difference.
And goes straight into the bloodstream.
Actually, it's very local. Goes very much local, which is beautiful. It doesn't go systemic.
Okay. That's something important to note. And then, Declan, had you ever heard of Arnica before?
Yes, I actually have. I've used it a lot before, actually, just like topical bruises all over my body, just from like lacrosse previously.
Okay, but nothing like this in this type of potency because it didn't exist before this. Okay, all right, we are going to take a short break, and then coming up, we're going to talk more about the technology behind this product, and Declan's dad will also join us, so stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, before the break, we told you that Decklan tore all 3 main ligaments in his ankle. His dad, Jordan, found a product from a local inventor called ActivMend, and Decklan was back on the field just 10 days later. I said days, not months, people. Okay, so Declan's with us again, and Jordan, his dad, joining us. Okay, Jordan, we're going to talk to you in just a second, but Declan, everybody wants to know, how did the playoffs go? I saw that smile. Did everybody see that smile? It's a positive thing.
We ended up going to overtime in that game.
Okay.
And we ended up losing.
Oh, well, you know what? A loss is a loss. It was that you were out there, right?
Yeah.
And you played hard. Okay, so what position do you play, and how did this injury impact your ability to play? Or did it?
I play striker, and the only time it impacted me was leading up to the game. During the game, it didn't really impact me, but leading up to the game, I could tell it was easy. Like my play rate and my shot power was like decreased.
Okay, so not quite at 100%, but in comparison from months that doctors said that it would take you to heal versus 10 days. I mean, were you so impressed with how this worked, this ActivMend? Okay, and then when you put it on, so that we're talking about your left ankle, did you keep it on for 24 hours straight?
Yeah.
To start? Okay. And then, Dad, we're going to bring you in. So tell us how you found this product, because this is not something that a lot of people have heard of.
No, absolutely. And I don't mean to correct you some, but there was actually the second game that we lost. So we got to quarterfinals.
Okay. This is a big deal.
100%.
Sports Dad, we need to know.
Yeah, so 10 days later, he got into our first game, and we won that game. And the second game in the quarterfinals that was going to send us to championship, we lost that one. But as far as ActivMend, I'm the strength and conditioning coach at University City High School here for the football team, and I'm always looking for a way. I always tell my son and the other kids in the weight room that the best ability is availability. So we're always trying to build the body up and get it prepared for just the impact of sports. But the one thing that is constant is that there is going to be injuries. So we always try to find different ways to get our boys back on the field and help decrease that overall healing time. So it was happenstance that I think that week I just happened to come across an ad for ActivMend and kind of just put it in my back pocket. And then when Decklan got injured, it was immediately on the way home, trying to figure out what's next, and remembered that site and reached back out, dug into it a little bit more. We're big into just trying to find as many natural ways to keep the body healthy, and reached out to Dr. Joe and ActivMend. Just, I think it was a little bit of a book, sending just a little bit of a panic. Hey, athlete finals, we're trying to get into playoffs, need some help, and happenstance, Dr. Joe reached back out, and we actually live very close to each other, and she met me in person and talked me through what the healing process is, how to apply it. And then, the next day we started Decklan on ActivMend and started working through it. So it was just a good marketing by ActivMend, because I came across it as I'm just searching through things as the strength and conditioning coach, and then familiar with a lot of the ingredients. So we felt pretty comfortable with what we were doing and going to put on my son to try to help him heal up.
Yeah, and I do want to mention this because as a mom myself with a very active son, you hear ligament, you hear. I want to make sure that we're telling people this first and foremost. You're not forcing your son on the field. You have a background with knowing injuries. You went to the ortho, right, before. Got some information there, and you felt strongly enough that if you found some help, you could get him on the field. This is not just forcing him on the field, right? Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
Huge fan of Rady's Children's Hospital, right? So Rady's Orthopedics, we went there, and they said he did sprain all 3 ligaments, and it was about a month till he could step on the field and just start working through it. And so we, obviously, after finding the product, we also have an athletic trainer at University City High, and we worked with him through the healing process, and before Decklan even stepped on the field, to make sure he felt comfortable. And as well as Decklan felt comfortable. So there was some definite workup for it. A lot of what I do as taking the coaching hat off, putting the dad hat on, is trying to keep him off the field and make sure that he is healthy, because he will go out there and put his all no matter what. So it's about tempering that.
Any athlete will do that. I think with distance running myself, even if you're in high school or you're in your 40s or 50s, we all just kind of try to get out there. Let me see if I'm still injured. Let me see if I'm still injured. So with your particular case, there was a process of getting cleared by a lot of people beforehand. Okay, so let's talk about the timeline of the recovery process.
No, absolutely. So our final soccer game was on a Friday night. That Friday is kind of where it all happened. And then the next day we started putting ActivMend on. We kept it on for 24 hours, just like she said. Only took it off for showers and such. We put it in a boot so we couldn't do anything with it. And then around day 9, we had him go out to the soccer team, work with the soccer coaches and the trainer to see how he was feeling, start working through it. But I think we tried crutches with him, but he didn't use the crutches for maybe more than a day, then started just using the boots and walking through it. But pretty steadily, he started getting balance and was able to walk up and down our stairs in our house, I think on day 3, without too much pain with the inflection or reflection of going through that movement. So it was not only just from visually, right, the bruising and the swelling, it never got bigger. It only decreased once we put ActivMend on. But it was just walking around the house without crutches, then without the boot, and then up and down the stairs, and then doing some balance work on some of the things that we have at the house. So it was very, very quick. So I do feel it helped, not only just with the visually, but with just the mechanics of it.
And your range of motion after 24 hours, what would you say about that?
Yeah, it definitely got a lot better. Like, I wasn't even able to go like halfway to what it normally would be. But then the day after, I was getting like way past that.
All right, those before and after pictures of just 24 hours are pretty impressive. All right, guys, we are going to take a short break, and after the break, Dr. Polich will be back to talk more about how she invented the product ActivMend and the whole process behind it. It's fascinating. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, Dr. Joe back with us now to talk about how she created her product, ActivMend. Okay, so this is fascinating. We all have ideas, whether we're taking a walk or we're in the shower and we come up with this great invention, and then most of us don't do anything with it because we don't know where to start. It's overwhelming, but you actually had your idea, went through the production process, and actually got it on shelves and online to sell. It is an actual product. So walk us through how long that took and how you came up with the idea in the first place.
Well, it was completely accidental, and I never really wanted to start a company. But I was in chiropractic school, and I had a patient that needed arnica. And I'm like, oh, I went to my clinician. We talked about the ones in pellets or by mouth are way stronger than what you see as a gel. And I went to my clinician. I'm like, can I give this pellet to my patient? And she's like, no, we're chiropractors. We only apply things on the skin. And I'm like, oh, well, that's because the stuff that's a gel, it's just not very strong.
Yeah.
So I have 3 engineering degrees, and one of them is, or 2 of them are actually in materials engineering. And I came up with a way of making it topical. And so what happens is I apply it, and it works. Like, I knew what normally when you take it by mouth, I knew what that did. I knew what it did by the gel, and it was way better. And then fast forward, so then what happens is I start using it on patients for a number of years, right?
What year is this?
Oh, this was back when I first invented it, was like 2002.
Oh, okay. So it was quite some time ago.
Yeah, it was quite
Okay.
some time ago, but I used it on patients for a while until I ruptured my own ACL.
That is not a fun injury to have.
It is not a fun injury to have, but even though I'm a chiropractor, we don't study ACLs, and I didn't swell. And so what happens is I did not swell. I go see an orthopedic surgeon who is the orthopedist for the Bears and for the Bulls and for the Cubs. And he's like, everyone swells. Every single person I've seen for 30 years with a ruptured ACL, you swell.
Yeah.
Long story short, he's like, he just thinks I'm crazy. I'm just like, just fix my knee. And then what happens is I go and I get it repaired. And when you don't use anti-inflammatories, which I didn't feel I needed, you normally can't move your knee in a month. And I could move it completely.
Because of the stuff you created.
Again, it was the only time I realized, because he said, you're better than most of the, like 90% of my patients that use Celebrex, you're better than that. You've discovered something remarkable. So
that's interesting, because a lot of people with autoimmune related diseases, conditions with inflammation, they are prescribed Celebrex.
Yeah.
In the pill form, mostly 200 milligrams, and you're saying this is better than that.
Well, I will not state that because we don't have any studies.
It's an alternative.
It's an alternative.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to
Wow.
make sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is I decide I'm going to bring arnica to the world. And so we built the version of it that you see here, and we patented it. So we have 10 patents on this. We brought it out first to plastic surgeons and dermatologists, and we did so well with that the company Allergan, who makes Botox, they license it from us. So they bought the company that made the patches for plastic surgery.
So you can put this on your face too.
You can totally put this on your face.
Because women do not like to bruise.
Do not like to bruise.
We do not like inflammation on our face.
Not at all. And so then we brought out this product, and it's a process to really, starting a company, I thought the hard part was getting to the really awesome gel. The hard part is like figuring out the marketing and things like that. It's just so hard.
Okay, I want to hear more about that. Unfortunately, we have to take another break, but we are going to be right back with some final thoughts on ActivMend.
Great.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, final thoughts with Dr. Joe and Decklan. Dr. Joe, you were finishing telling us about the process of getting a product from the idea through the production phase, start to finish, and finish your thought.
Yeah, so basically, I advise companies now who start companies, and it is just a hard thing to do. The number of mistakes I made was unbelievable when I started it, because I'm a chiropractor, I'm an engineer, I know nothing about startup. And so one of the things, there's an amazing resource here in San Diego, it's called the Brink, B-R-I-N-K, which is it's a government group whose entire principle is we will advise people who are thinking about starting a company and tell them really what it takes. And they've got amazing programs. I would highly recommend anyone interested to do that.
Do they have to come up with the financial backing on their own, or does a company like Brink help them with that?
The Brink tells you what you need to do to assess whether what you have is something real. It helps you understand what fundraising is required. So it's completely free. So there's groups and seminars which will tell you how to get there from essentially an idea.
I think people would be really interested in that process. Okay, Decklan, final thoughts with you. Any advice for any athletes right now who are injured and maybe wondering about ActivMend?
Yeah, especially if like the injuries she's talked about, if you have something like that, it'll definitely help. Like it helped me way faster than I thought I would be back. And also like with injuries like this, you just gotta listen to your body. You can't go back too early because it won't benefit you in the long run.
When's your next game?
Friday night.
Okay. Football? No, not
Lacrosse.
football. Lacrosse. I jumped us ahead a couple seasons. Thank you guys both for being here, and your dad, Jordan, as well. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stephanie Simmons, and this is The Backstory.